now, right now. Right 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 now, right now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. Starting here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how Bitcoin attempted to break out bullish yesterday, but that breakout reversed into nearly a $1,000 crash. Did the Bitcoin rally just fail? That is probably the question on your mind as of this morning. So we are going to dive straight on into that question today. Thank you so very much for tuning in. On Coffee and Crypto, we look at technical charts for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets to ascertain and analyze where Bitcoin is and where it may be going next. Sometimes we even give some trade setups to explain how to profit off of those movements. Thank you guys for tuning in. We've got a lot of people in chat today. Paul Torelli, Wisely T, Alex Nibo, Liquidation Zone Taken, Dan Nolan, Bradley Smith, Joe Bollier? I'm not sure. Omar Kulash? I see. Philly Skills, Dan Nolan, Chris Moe, and RC Moore. Everybody in chat today, really appreciate all of y'all tuning in today. We're going to go ahead and jump straight onto the CoinMarketCap, because we need to discuss a couple of different things here. First and foremost, as you can see, Bitcoin has dropped relatively slightly. Over the last 24 hours, we've dropped about 1.37% over the last day, and you can see that reflecting here on the chart. As you can see, yesterday, Bitcoin began a ambitious break above this downtrending resistance level, rallied all the way up to $31,000, and as of just a couple of hours ago, kind of flash crashed straight through the floor. Starting at around 9 a.m., Bitcoin was approaching $31,000. Likely hit a huge sell wall and got rejected very sharply, and then the people that were in their longs probably also triggered stop losses right around 30,600, and Bitcoin would drop all the way down to 29,400. In the span of an hour, Bitcoin dropped $1,500. Many people are now wondering, has the Bitcoin rally failed? No, this is not at all confirmation of a failed rally on Bitcoin. The only reason I put that in the title is because I know that's what plenty of people are thinking right now. Bitcoin has definitely not failed its rally, at least yet. We have no confirmation that a rally completion has occurred. We have no confirmation that the rally is over. Even looking here at volume, you can see that there's a huge amount of red volume, but a huge amount of red volume is not necessarily a bad thing. If you look at how much red volume there was, this much red volume managed to drop Bitcoin $1,500, and Bitcoin's already recovered 650 of those dollars that were lost. These volume candlesticks over here are proportionally much smaller than the red volume candle we saw just now, and those volume candlesticks allowed Bitcoin to rally $2,300, and Bitcoin didn't stop and reverse. It continued higher on those smaller volume candlesticks. What I mean to say is that by volume, you can kind of ascertain how much energy, how many troops, to use the warfare analogy that we use sometimes, how much resources were dedicated by one side, either the bulls or the bears, into that given fight, into that given conflict. Obviously, by the amount of red volume that was just put into play here, the bears put up a huge counteroffensive against the bulls, put up a major fight, and they weren't able to really secure a whole lot of anything. Bitcoin is still able to try and get back up above this uptrend right now. We're technically above it, and we're also above this uptrend right here that has been in play for the last, 6, 7, 8 months, this uptrend at this place right here. Bitcoin has managed to hold above as of this drop. Now, it's still early. Bitcoin has just begun this correction, but the belief here is that if Bitcoin is able to hold above either one of these support uptrends or above $28,400, $28,545, that Bitcoin will end up bouncing and rallying and going through an uptrend that will be able to break it above 31K. Ultimately, so long as Bitcoin stays here between $28,545 and below $31,000, then I do believe that we're going to be all right. Now, let's go ahead and look out at the daily chart because we want to get some perspective on all of this as well. One of the things I want to point out to you is that if we do see a drop down to 28,545, that actually could be the beginning of a bullish pattern called a cup and handle formation. For any of you who are not aware, we've taught about the cup and handle formation in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy and also over in Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. The cup and handle formation is a very important formation because it is essentially a major bullish formation. The formation that I normally show to teach this pattern shows up right over here. And it's maybe not the best example because Bitcoin actually did crash following it, but that was as a result of the beginning of the pandemic, not as a result of the technical indicator and the chart formation not working. A cup and handle formation basically looks like a little teacup. You have a cup right here, and then you have a much smaller cup that is actually the handle. Then you have the neckline, and then it basically operates very similar to how you would operate a head and shoulders pattern. In this case, we would have had a price target around $12,600. I reckon we probably would have gone to $12,600 if not for the fact that the massive pandemic began in January, right around the time that we were breaking out of the cup and handle, and by February, C19 was in dozens and dozens of countries, and everybody was freaking out, and end of the world. Everybody thought it was the end of times. So the cup and handle formation didn't play out there, but it is a pattern that plays out very, very well. In fact, it did play out there, it just didn't quite hit its price target. The cup and handle formation is a pattern that plays out quite frequently. And when it does play out, it typically is very good at predicting the next movement of Bitcoin. Right now, it's very possible that we're about to see a little bit of a slanted cup. This might look a little bit more like one of those little plastic scoops that you put in your cereal. If you have a plastic cereal container, you have a little scoop. It almost looks like a scoop or a trowel or something. Not exactly a cup, but I believe it's close enough that the chart formation would still apply. We have this kind of cup formation here where we dropped very slowly, rallied very quickly. I'd even say this actually is a more bullish pattern because it shows that the slide here is on the direction of bullishness, not on the direction of bearishness. For example, we didn't drop like this and then rally here and then we're trying to put a cup in and then we're going to go through a breakout. No. We kind of slowly corrected, jumped through the ceiling, put in a cup, and then we're going to rally. I believe that this bottom pattern would be the more bullish of the two. So, for that to play out, Bitcoin would need to go through a correction, and that stands to reason that that may be what we're seeing right now. On the hourly chart, is the rally over? No, absolutely not. Bitcoin is still above most support. The bulls are fighting hard, and they seem to be fighting with one hand tied behind their back, and they're still managing to come out mostly on top. The bulls, I believe, are in good shape right now. On the daily chart, however, things do look a little bit more dangerous. Out on the daily chart, while this daily chart candlestick is not closed yet, at the moment, it is rearing up as a spinning top. For any of you who have gone through CT2A or gone through Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis, you will know that candlestick formations such as this one, set on the 14th of April, spinning tops, are typically signals of indecision. Oftentimes you see them show up at the bottom or tops of trends. In fact, almost every single major market shift that we've seen this year has had a spinning top or spinning tops in its arsenal. Right around the time that we saw a reversal, we would see a spinning top. Just going back in time chronologically, a reversal from dropping to rallying, we saw two spinning tops right here, and I would actually also argue that these two candlesticks, at least this candlestick right here for the 15th of June, is close enough to be considered a spinning top formation. We've seen the same thing happen if we go back even farther in time here, where we go back to April. You see April 14th, there was very clearly a spinning top. Spinning tops are constituted by a relatively small body, although it can be a large body, and then long wicks on either sides that are equidistant. So, this is a spinning top, this is a spinning top, this is a spinning top. Let's see, this is a spinning top. They show up quite frequently, but we also know that they typically happen at reversal. We saw a spinning top here on the 11th of March. This first green candlestick of the rally indicated that there was indecision. When you throw a ball in the air, this is the way I like to explain the spinning top. When you throw a ball in the air, at some point, the ball reaches something called the apogee. And in rocket science, you have your apogee and your perigee, or in Spanish, it's your apoapsis and your periapsis. Those 2 points represent the highest point of your orbit and the lowest point of your orbit. Now, if something's not in orbit, then it doesn't have a periapsis, because the periapsis is underneath the Earth. It is literally in the ground, because the ball would be orbiting and it's going to hit the ground, right? So there's no periapsis because it's going to hit the ground, no perigee. However, there will be an apogee. That apogee is the highest point of the orbit. When you throw a ball, you are putting it into orbit. You're just putting it into a suborbital trajectory. Suborbital just means that you're throwing it, and it's not going to continue going around the planet. It's going to eventually come back down to the planet because it's moving slower than it needs to interorbital velocity. The highest point of an orbit, of the space station, of a geocentric station to satellite, of the Hubble Space Telescope, or the James Webb Telescope, or the SpaceX rocket we saw launch, and the Indonesian satellite they put up into GeoSat-1 a couple of weeks ago. Whatever it is, that geostationary orbit a few weeks ago, whatever the orbital body is, eventually there's a point that's the highest. It might be 100,000 miles above the Earth. It might be 254,000 miles above the Earth, like the moon is. It might be 93 million miles above the sun, like the Earth is. Whatever it is, there is a highest point of an orbit. And so the same thing happens with a ball. You throw a ball, and there's a highest point. And for a second there, when you are at the highest point of an orbit, whether you're in an orbit or you're in a suborbital trajectory because you threw a baseball, there's going to be that highest point. And for a brief, infinitesimally small second, for an infinitesimally small fraction of time, the ball, the space station, the sun, the Earth, whatever it is that's in orbit around something else, whatever it is, will actually stop moving. It's not going up and it's not going down. It is moving sideways for an infinitesimally, that meaning smaller than you can divide. It is infinitely small, infinitesimally small amount of time. It is not moving. It's neither going up nor down. It is indecisive. If you just froze the universe in that point in time and measured its velocity, it does not have any up or down velocity. It does not have any vertical velocity. It's only horizontal. And so that's what we kind of see happen when Bitcoin turns around. At some point, Bitcoin is neither going up nor down. It is going exactly sideways. And it reaches its periapsis or reaches its apoapsis. It reaches its perigee or its apogee. And so that's what we see happen with spinning tops. Spinning tops are that exact infinitesimally small moment where the market is neither going up nor down. It is somewhere in between. It is moving sideways with no vertical velocity. It has only lateral velocity. It's moving sideways through time. It is not going up or down in space, in this case, price. A similar thing occurred back here on the 18th of February, spinning top. Similar thing occurred right here on the 12th of February, spinning top. Similar things occurred back over here, multiple spinning tops. Bitcoin kind of sat up here and hovered for a minute like Wile E. Coyote about to fall into the Grand Canyon. We see the same thing happening back here with spinning tops. There's one right here indicating that this correction was almost over. So I think you get my point. Most corrections are going to see a spinning top. And the reason I bring that up is because we have a very, very bold spinning top right now. There's a battle going on right now. Just so you know, yes, we're trading sideways on Bitcoin, but the bulls and the bears are going at it hard, guys. They are duking it out. There's a lot of volatility, a lot of volume. This is a spinning top. And that does give us some indication that we may be about to see a further correction. Because remember, when you are starting to go to the downside following a movement to the upside, you're going to see a moment where the market's not moving. You're going to see a moment of indecision where you're neither bullish nor bearish. If it's a ball, you're either going up or down. If you're in market, you're either bullish or bearish, right? Moving from bullish to bearish is a spectrum. It's almost like you got bullish over here, bearish over here, and right there in the middle, you have neither. The market kind of goes back and forth on that spectrum from bullish to bearish, and whenever it crosses from bullish to bearish, it has to go through that point in the middle where it's neither. And that's what the spinning top represents. And so if you see a spinning top, be aware that there may be about to be a market reversal. That doesn't mean the reversal is going to be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. It might be $5 if you're down on the minute chart. Whatever it is, you're probably going to see some kind of reversal. And so the reason I bring that up is because here on the daily chart with these spinning tops, because there's also a couple of other candlesticks that you might argue are spinning tops. You might argue this one here on the 26th of June is, it's a bit of a stretch, but you could argue it. This spinning top showing up could indicate that we could see a drop down to 28,545. One of the things I've encouraged you guys to remember is that while I do believe Bitcoin's rally is not over, I do believe it'll go to between $33,000 and $35,000. I think that Bitcoin may need some consolidative movement, some corrective movement before we get there. For example, I consider all of this to be basically one movement with a correction right here in the middle in the beginning weeks of February. A very similar thing may be about to occur right here. Bitcoin very well may be about to correct down to 28,545, break this uptrend for a time, break up to it, maybe try and test our head and break through it again like that. and then move on above $31,000 next month. That is not a bad thing. That, in fact, would be a very bullish thing, because going back to what we talked about the cup and handle formation, now you can kind of see how I'm tying all this together. This spinning top could indicate that we're about to fill out the handle. Then the cup and handle formation may very well play out. That cup and handle formation could give us a price target all the way up to $36,000. If you guys remember, my price target for the way the market's moving right now, with all of the changes that we've seen, is between $33,000 and $35,000. Based purely on the historical analysis that we have seen and on the state of other markets. One of the things that may hold that down, just keep in mind, is that the stock market does seem to want to be correcting a little bit. However, over the last several days, it's actually been doing pretty well. So if the stock market is able to continue rallying up towards fresh highs, then I do believe that you're going to see Bitcoin attempting to do the exact same thing. All right, so to answer the question, did the Bitcoin rally just fail? No, I don't believe it did. I believe that we are seeing a spinning top that could be sending us into the handle of a cup and handle formation. That cup and handle formation could give us a rally to between $33,000 and $36,000. That rally would very likely be the remainder of what we have to rally after what we saw happen with the BlackRock ETF being announced. We're seeing more details coming out on everything from the SEC's attack on cryptocurrency to BlackRock and all kinds of other news. But right now, I do believe that Bitcoin is in good shape, especially considering the two markets that is most highly correlated with seem to be giving it, at least in general, on average, some bullishness. The Dixie is rallying, yes, but it's actually down today, which is helpful when Bitcoin is having a correction. If the Dixie does also, it may stave off the worst of what that correction may end up becoming. And also, again, as I said earlier, the SPY rallying is very bullish because the Bitcoin market rallies with the SPY, and the Bitcoin market rallies when the Dixie is crashing. Right now, the Dixie is in not the strongest of shape, certainly, that has been in a while. And so when the Dixie is not doing the best, and when the SPY is doing very well, that is prime territory for a rally on Bitcoin. All right, let's go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. How long will Litecoin go, Jeb? You know, Litecoin has a special place in my heart because Litecoin was the first cryptocurrency I ever invested in. That being said, I am not loyal to cryptocurrencies. I am not loyal to any investment. And hear me out here, because you might not understand what I'm saying at first. I'm not loyal to any investment. The point of me investing in things is to generate a return and to generate revenue, right? So while I love the message of Bitcoin, and I think even if I didn't invest in Bitcoin for the sake of making investment revenue, I would still want to use it for its principles. For the vast majority of altcoins, that's not so much the case. I'm looking for an altcoin that I can invest in, that can make money, and I can generate a revenue in. Litecoin, unfortunately, is one that I'm not so sure I'm going to be able to outpace the market on. So hear me here. I did not say that you can't make money in Litecoin. I think that Litecoin probably will go through a rally during the next year. If you guys don't know, I bought Litecoin for the first time right here. This is, you see the years down here? We're so zoomed out, the years are skipping a year. This is how old this chart is. This is a Coinbase chart. I invested in Litecoin right after it got listed on Coinbase. A couple of months back in 2017. I rode Litecoin from $41.20 all the way up to $420. And my quarter Litecoin made me $100. I was so excited. And then I started telling people, man, Litecoin's awesome in early 2018. And I saw people get into it, and it dropped by 90%. Dropped all the way down to $20. This is the log chart. This makes it look better than it is. That's the linear chart. Litecoin lost so much of its value, and it continues to come back down here to these levels, and it has this slight, gradual, general uptrend, but it's really not an asset that I believe I can outpace the market on. And to prove the reason that I say that, look at the Litecoin over Bitcoin chart. This is the Binance chart. This goes back to 2013. This is the longest running history of Litecoin over Bitcoin that you're really going to see. It's not great looking. It does not look the best. Look on the log chart, just make it a little easier. Litecoin is continually losing value against Bitcoin. It's lost 92% of its value against Bitcoin in the last 10 years. So, while Litecoin does hold a special place in my heart, and I know that every project is always saying they're doing this new development, I personally am not going to put any money into Litecoin. I'm sorry. I have to go off of the analysis and the data that I have. And the analysis and the data that I have, actually, I'm not sorry. because I want to invest in things that are going to generate as much revenue as possible. And so, am I going to invest in Bitcoin? No. Excuse me, in Litecoin? No, I'm not. Bitcoin? Yes, I will. All right. Let's see. We're going to have to wrap it out here in just a minute. Good deal. Smash the likes. Really appreciate that. Don't fall for the fallout. BlackRock will get whatever it wants eventually. Yes, Bitcoin's BlackRock is huge. They kind of do get whatever they want. Good deal. Colin McDonald in chat. Hello, Colin. Really excited for tomorrow's video, by the way. Guys, make sure you look out for that. I'm 95% in Bitcoin, but Jeb, would you look into a certain altcoin? I could look into it, Rick. I could look into it. I could definitely look into it. All right, guys. Like I said, really appreciate all of you tuning in. I think Bitcoin's going to have a very good weekend as far as developing this pattern, but I do think it is going to take some time to break above 31K, and we may go through a correction down to the $28,000 region first, and it's not a bad thing. That could be a very healthy thing for Bitcoin. It could be a very healthy consolidated movement correction. Bitcoin just rallied very quickly. I have no problem with the bulls taking $2,000 and recapturing a little bit of land, a little bit of territory, and then giving the bulls time and a breather to recuperate and get ready to move back to the upside. Make sure if you enjoyed today's video to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell if you haven't already, and make sure to sign up for Lux Algo using coupon code JEB30. That's JEBB 30 for 30% off at checkout. That'll save you $20.40 a month if you use the monthly plan. That'll save you almost $300 in the first year if you use the annual plan. So make sure you sign up using coupon code JEB, JEBB30 for 30% off at checkout. You're going to be so very glad you did. I do have to go, guys. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.